Hearty fraternal greetings and good wishes to all the brothers and sisters. Once again we commune to live as souls within one soul. It is our aspiration of personalities that bring us again and again to commune around the solstice of every year, summer solstice. Experience the bliss of existence Such bliss of existence is when one lives as soul, and to live as soul, there is the inevitable need of the personality orienting to the soul and letting the soul express its will, love and light through the personality. Only then blissful existence is possible. The soul itself is an image of God or the super soul or the universal energy relating to the universal energy. The soul can experience and express the divine love, light and power through the vehicle of personality. The personality requires to be trained it has to be put to right size, right order, eliminating the angles. Then it has to be shaped, purified through water, through fire, to be able to stand in the purity of air. Such a personality blissfully experiences the soul itself being the super soul in its expression. Every solstice, summer solstice, offers an opportunity to reform the personality, to reform. Reformation has many dimensions in it, and that is what we pledge to work out as we gather during the solstice hours, the summer solstice hours. That's our basic theme for the next 4 months to come, to be able to experience the birth of the Savior in us as we walk towards the winter solstice. The theme of time is to offer opportunities for aspiring souls to transform themselves in terms of their personality, transcend the matter, and yet stay with the matter. The purpose is to stay with the matter but not in the matter. The matter can surround us, but we do not stay in it. We preside over it. That purpose is the immediate purpose. And there are men who transcended and who ascended. Their story enables us to gain the needed inspiration to move forward in our endeavors for transformation. It is by the will of the Master that we speak of a very grand Master during this group life. He is the great Grand Master as far as this planet is concerned. And about him we intend recollecting the life, the works, and various events relating to him, namely the respected Count, the beloved Saint Germain. He is called in the West as a wonder man, as an alchemist, a person who does not die, and so on. He is also called a charlatan, in the royal courts, and a person that befriends ladies more than men. Many things are said according to their standpoint by many authors. But the truth is, he is the transcended one. He is one of the most important beings relating to the hierarchy of this planet. It is he who lays down the foundation for restructuring humanity and for its electromagnetic growth. Count Saint Germain has far more past than what is known in Europe. He also has much more post-European activity in the United States, in the North and South of America, that huge continent of North America and South America. No doubt, the Master pervades the whole planet and responds to every aspiring soul who is willing to reorganize himself or herself, who is ardent to bring a ceremonial order into one's own life. This very intense will to reorganize oneself, to reshape oneself, is enough to gain the benefit of the presence of the Master, whom we call the Holy Brother. He called himself the Holy Brother. When he was asked of his name, he said, "You may call me as a brother, Germain, Hermanos. You may also call me as Sanctos Germanos. If you wish, you may also further call me as the Count, the mysterious Count, whose birth is really not known. He just appeared on the screen, declared himself as the Prince of Rakosi. No one knew when he was born. Many stories are afloat, but no one knew when he was born. He appeared on the screen and claimed himself to be the son of Rakojis and also introduced himself as the Count. And he preferred to be called as the Holy Brother. Thereafter, certain events that he conducted in the 17th, 16th, 17th, 18th centuries in Europe, they are all still remembered by people, by his followers. And there are many narrations relating to him which you would know if you get into Google. We call him the Google uncle. In India, we say if you need to know anything, better consult Google uncle. All elders in India, we call them either as uncles or aunties. If there are ladies, they are aunties. If they are males, they are uncles. So the Google uncle himself gives a lot of detail to you about many events that are attributed to the Count and the Saint, who is a brother. The very meaning of Saint Germain is Holy Brother. When he was asked of his name, he said Sanctos, Hermanos. So you can also call it SH, Sanctos Hermanos. That's how he said it. And S and H form the essence of the spirit and matter. The sound has S and the sound H constitute the key sounds of spirit and matter. You all know through the teachings relating to Purusha Suktam and Sri Suktam. Purusha Sukta starts with the sound S. Sahasra Sirsha Purusha. Sri Suktam starts with the sound H. Hiranyavarnam Harini. These dimensions can only come from the Vedic background. Once there is a Vedic background available to us, vistas of any leaf of wisdom can be opened. So to say that he is CSJ is one thing, to say that he is CSH is another thing. Because he is the Count, who is the Sanctos Hermanos. This is only to tell you that with our mind we cannot really much understand the stories relating to the noble beings. We need keys for everything. Without keys, mind understands the superficial events. With the keys of sound, of symbol, and of color, and of number, a lot can be unveiled. Study of occultism demands study of this fourfold key. It is called the keyboard of Pythagoras in the West. It is but part of the keys to Veda called Vedangas in the East. So the Count, who is called Sanctos Hermanos, he is unborn. He is unborn and he never dies. This should be known with every adept. He is neither born nor does he die. If anyone says someone is born, he is a mortal. But someone who is not born and does not die, he is the immortal. For immortals, we try to attribute dates of birth and dates of death. This is because we continue to live in the habit of mind, and mind has a much less understanding of that which is beyond mind. So Saint Germain, as he is popularly called, he was unborn and he never dies, and many episodes are there to say that he attended the funeral relating to the bodies of one of his incarnations. The only one who also attended to the funeral ceremony relating to one of his bodies, which is possible when you have known the key to step out of this body and live in the body of golden light or diamond light. Such ones can witness their death. When they can witness their death, it is no wonder that they can witness their funeral as well. Because the funeral is for the body. Whether it is buried or it is burnt, they can happily witness it along with the others. Such episodes are also recorded relating to Saint Germain. So in this solstice, it is by the will of the Master himself that we try to unveil certain aspects relating to this great saint, whose roots are, once again, inevitably are in India. Even the Google uncle says that he is an Oriental adapter. What is Oriental, what is Occidental? It is mind's division. And the sphere of earth, when it is a wholesome form, which is east, which is west? Which is east, which is west? Division is a facility for understanding, but not an absolute division. The mind must necessarily define, divide. It has its habit. And we say that we are all esoteric students, occult students, intending to work more from the buddhic plane than from the mental plane. But unfortunately, we try to understand even wisdom from the mental plane only. That means you are reducing the very vibration, the quality and the dimension of wisdom when you fix it up into the mental. That's why it is said in the esoteric schools, first man should learn to walk into the wisdom plane. That is the first step. To walk into the wisdom plane, thereafter understand the vistas of wisdom. The effort to understand wisdom from the mind doesn't help. The mind must necessarily submit itself to certain processes through daily practices by which it yields itself to the higher mind, which is called wisdom. Once the mind gains or concedes itself to the higher mind, that mind is able to study, comprehend, and even experience the wisdom. Instead of ascending our energies into wisdom plane and relate to the scriptures and to the hierarchy, we bring it down to the mental plane and also to emotional plane. Mostly people speak very loosely about the adepts, and they also get the emotional understanding that they are disciples of such master, and such other master. It's because the more you get into emotion, the more you have illusions relating to it. So when we speak of a master of wisdom, and we try to learn about him, we cannot just learn with our concrete mind. It requires a mind that is aligned with buddhi. From the buddhic plane, when you try to understand the story of any master of wisdom, it reveals 100 times more than what it reveals through a mental plane understanding. That's the reason why I said Sanctos Hermanos stand for S and H, meaning he is a good combination of spirit and matter, cosmic nature and cosmic person. Whenever there is an optimum blend of the spirit and matter, then that man is complete. That man is complete. And he has the abilities of the spirit and the matter as well. Therefore, he performs either way to cause the needed inspiration for those who seek. Count Saint Germain, as I said earlier, is an oriental adept. So therefore we have to necessarily know what are his antecedents. What are his antecedents? The antecedents date back to one of the greatest seers of this creation, who gave the mantra Gayatri. The founder of the race relating to Saint Germain is called, he is titled as Vishwamitra, sage Vishwamitra, whose other name is Kaushika. Kaushika. K-A-U-S-I-K-A. He comes from, Saint Germain comes from that dynasty. Just like you find in the New Testament, the antecedents of Jesus, tracing up to Abraham, in the antecedents relating to Saint Germain, they go up to the Rishi Vishwamitra. He is called Vishwamitra because by revealing the formula of Gayatri, he rendered a great key to light for humanity, and therefore the colleague sages have called him the friend of the universe. Friend of the universe. If you translate friend of universe into Sanskrit, friend is Mitra, universe is Vishwa. So Vishwa Mitra, meaning the friend of the universe, is the title given to one sage who is called, he belongs to a family which is called the family of Kaushikas. Kaushikas. The family of Kaushikas has been a royal family. If you see most of the adepts, like Lord Maitreya, or Master Maurya, or Master Kutumi, or the Master Saint Germain, or Jesus the Christ, or H.P. Blavatsky, they have all come from royal lineages. It's a common factor which we can observe in the life of these great ones. There is a royal lineage. So this Kushika family was a royal family, and through that family has emerged the great sage Vishwamitra, who gave the mantra of Gayatri, which is now global. In India, among all the mantras, Gayatri mantra is seen as the most effective mantra for self-realization. Therefore, he is the sage that gave it. And it is his lineage which continued in India for a long time. And one of the members of this lineage is Bharat, King Bharat. It is after him the nation is named as Bharat. India is known as the land of Bharat. So such is the lineage of Saint Germain. And in this lineage, there is a tremendous emphasis on self-effort, and there is little emphasis on grace. That's the another dimension relating to the lineage of the Master. Self-effort to transformation is visited by grace from time to time for unfoldment. But the emphasis by this lineage of Masters is more on self-effort than waiting for grace. Keep doing and keep transforming until such point where the descent of light is almost demanded, if not commanded. Don't wait for the grace to shower. Work it out to such an extent that the light has no other alternative but to descend. He gives the lineage of Saint Germain, the ancestry shows that man can, by his self-will, reach to such an extent that he would demand the grace, he would command the grace to visit him, instead of remaining meek, weak and humble, waiting to receive. This is a dimension which is rarely found in matters of wisdom ever since the advent of Kali Yuga. The man being the image of God, he should be able to relate to the divine and experience everything, every potential relating to the divine. That is where this lineage extremely aligns with the first ray of will. We all know that the Master Saint Germain, he relates to the seventh ray. But in this context, I would like to say one thing. Every adept is an adept of every ray. Please note this. Every adept is an adept of every ray. They may have been in tune with the divine plan, ascribed to work with one ray energy. They may have been ascribed with or assigned with one aspect of the divine plan, but all masters of wisdom are masters of synthesis, the synthesis of white ray from which all the seven rays emerge. We, the students, we limit the masters due to our limited understanding that this master is for this master is for this master is for this. There is no such a indelible demarcation. It keeps changing. One master can train his school of students in relation to all the seven rays and ultimately settle him in synthesis. Just because we take to one department in a group life like this, each one of us pick up a job and do it. In a group life like this, because we have volunteered to undertake that particular aspect of group life. But it does not mean that we are only limited to that ability. There are many other abilities with those who have committed themselves to the group life. We cannot say that most of those who attend to the group life have only the ability to listen. Just because you listen, we cannot say that you have only one ability, that is to listen. The moment the work is done, we have other abilities. Therefore, though we call him seventh ray master, meaning he mostly works with seventh ray, but that does not mean he cannot work with first ray or second ray or third ray or fourth, fifth or sixth ray. This dimension must also be known, that the master has such a will that it is first ray at work is called seventh ray. So this lineage of Saint Germain dates back to that lineage of Vishwamitra or Kaushika, who believe more in self-effort than in grace. In Kali Yuga, the will is so weak that the teachers speak of grace visiting, but grace does not visit those who do not do anything. Grace visits those who are at one, who are targeted to accomplish something. When that targeting is for the benefit of humanity as a whole, the visit is more frequent than when it is a personal target. So this is one aspect relating to the saint. So let us get back to the lineage of the master Saint Germain, the founder of his race. He is sage Vishwamitra by title, Kaushika by name. He is the founder of the race. He is called Kaushika because he was king of a province in Indian continent which is called Kusi. King of Kusi is called Kaushika. He was a king of great valor and was invincible by any of his contemporaries. A great warrior, a warrior king, full of valor, and was highly respected for his talent in martial field. No one could win him in any fight. That was his reputation. The king once went into the forest to limit the animals which step out of the forest and cause some disturbances in the human communities. It was one of the routine activities of kings in the past that they had to restore the animals to the forest so that they do not cause disturbance to the human habitats. So in one of those duties, when the king went deep into the forest and went on limiting the animals into their respective places, he and his team were tired and were very hungry. Normally in the forest, the hermits live, the saints live, and he was looking for a place where he could get some rest, some food and some drink. So the team found a place of a hermit, a great sage, whose name is Vasishtha. I give you some background because these are all the sublime personages that help us on the path. The sage's name is Vasishtha. Incidentally, I may tell you that the hierarchy comes from that sage Vasishtha. The Himalayan hierarchy comes from Vasishtha to Shakti, and from Shakti to Parasara, and from Parasara to Lord Maitreya. This is the lineage. So he goes to the ashram of a sage who is the world teacher of the times. He was the world teacher of the times. He represents one of the seven stars of the Great Bear. We are told in the books that Great Bear is our father, Pleiades is our mother, Sirius is our teacher. Like that we read in the books. Thanks to Madam Bailey, who revealed many of those dimensions as are contained in Puranas with the help of Master Jwalpur. Amidst the Great Bear, if you see the three stars in a line which we call the tail, the middle star is called Vasistha. It is the solar system. That star represents a solar system which guides our solar system. You can look to spiritual astrology for further details. One of the 7 stars of the Great Bear plays the role of father to our solar system. On this solar system, there is a representative of that star of the Great Bear, which is called Vasistha. It is he who is responsible for the hierarchy on the planet. So this king, Kaushika, he visited the ashram of Vasistha, who was the then world teacher. When the king came, the saint, he walked up to the king along with his disciples, offered kingly honors, and brought him into the ashram, offered waters to cool themselves, later offered facilities to clean themselves and to get fresh, and then offered food to all of them, and this was a great surprise to the king, that a sage in the forest could give such hospitality which is not possible without prior arrangement. There must be some prior arrangement to receive 100 soldiers and 10 assistants and the king, say around 111 people. Just then and there serve them everything on an instant basis. It was very surprising to the king. So after having rested, before departing to his capital, the king inquired from the sage, what is the secret of his service that he could serve so many without much effort and time involved. The sage showed a cow in the ashram. This is the cow that yields anything that I seek from it. And I seek according to the needs of the ashram, the needed facilities from the cow, and the cow gives it, so that we do not, the inmates of the ashram do not lose time in these matters relating to daily cooking, cleaning the vessels, washing the clothes, all this daily routine which takes much time relating to us. In fact, it prevents us from doing long hours of meditation if we intend to. What do people do on Saturday and Sunday? Clean the house, clean the vessels, clean the linen, clean the clothing, all this takes long time. So we are all relieved of these duties by this cow. Whatever we seek, it gives, so that we can engage in penance. And the inmates of the ashram are also relieved of those duties, and they are in penance. This is one help that this cow does. And when visitors come, like you, we have the facility to offer the best that we can for the guests. Listening to this, the king felt, if a cow like this is with him in his palace, he can discharge all duties of the kingdom. He can discharge all the duties of kingdom, that he can feed people, he can take care of their welfare. If some other king comes to fight with him in a war, the cow itself releases soldiers and the war is conducted. He felt he can. He requested the sage, it serves the kingdom much better if this cow is with me than it is with you. If this cow is with me in my palace, it does a great service to the nation. What is the big use that you hold this cow here in your ashram? The sage said, this cow would not move to your kingdom. It's not for such purposes. It is for those who are trying to realize Brahman, realize the truth, and thereby become world servers. That's the major purpose for which this cow is with me. The king did not agree. He said, no, I do not agree with your view. Since I am the king and you are a subject of this kingdom, you have to oblige me and give this cow to me. Then the sage Vasishtha, he said, if the cow is willing, you may take it with you. If the cow is willing, you may take it with you. But if the cow is not willing, you should not take it with you. Because free will should prevail. Free will is the ultimate law. Even though we are all subjects of your kingdom, you cannot rule us much against our will. So therefore, seek the cow. If it is willing to come with you, you may take the cow with you. Then the king did not know how to speak to the cow. So he told his soldiers, what am I to speak to this cow? Bring it along, we'll take it. See, the soldiers went to the cow and the cow defended itself. With its horns, it defended and did not move. It did not budge an inch. Then the soldier said, it seems to be not willing. Then the king said, what? A cow defying a king? I cannot accept this. Let us pull it by the throat. Put a noose around it, the throat, around the neck, and pull it on. So they tried to put a noose around. It did not work. There was no way to go near the cow. Then the king thought he should use his powers to subdue the cow. And the cow started defending every attack by the king. He went on releasing arrows on it to see what its power is. And the arrows also did not do anything, and they all were neutralized even while they approached the aura of the cow. They were coming and falling before her. Then the king realized that it's not an ordinary cow. there must be some other way to relate to it. He went to the sage and said, the cow is not willing. What is the secret of this cow? Because I haven't seen such a cow on earth. I have heard of a cow in the celestial kingdom, Kamadhenu. And is this Kamadhenu? He asked. The sage answered, this is not Kamadhenu. This is called Surabhi. It belongs to that lineage of Kamadhenu, but it is not Kamadhenu. Then the king asked, please tell me the way to gain this cow. Then the sage said, the cow is no cow, it's not a special cow. It is due to the penances that I have done, the tapas that I have done, the meditation that I have done. All those fulfillments which I received through my penances, I have deposited in that cow. Unless I am willing, the cow will not will. Unless I will that the cow should come with you, it does not. Then the king said, so you are the person who is obstructing the cow. He said, yes. It's not the cow, it's me. Then you please come and stay with me. I give you all honors in my kingdom. He said, no, my job is to be here and to work for the souls who are trying to relate to Brahman and thereby become outposts of wisdom to serve humanity. That is the plan with which I am working. I can help you, but I cannot come with you. Then the king said, if you don't come with you, I'll bind you and take you with me. See this. Then the king started the same game as he started with the cow. The sage, in the Indian sages, they squat and they sit in meditation, resting one hand on a wooden stand. It is like a stand with a base on it on which the hand is rested and a vertical column. They keep it like this. Mostly you see the posture of Shiva in that manner. So when the king started fighting with the sage, the sage took the magic wand which is with him and set it across, and the king could not fight with him. All his weapons were neutralized by the magic wand. Then the king said, at least give me that magic wand. Then the sage again explained, the wand carries my energy. If I don't come and you take this wand with you, it would just be a wooden stick. Nothing more than that. Then the king felt there is no way to fight this man. He wanted to know how could he gain all that kind of a strength that an invincible king could not win over in a fight. The sage is not a fighter, but he won over the king because the king could not hold him or imprison him with all his power. Then the sage related to him the secret of meditation. Vasishtha, the seer, he related to the king the power of meditation and how the meditation can lead one to the absolute, and how when one reaches absolute, the nature in its nine folds cooperates with a person and how one can be a great adept. Then the king felt that the power of kingdom is nothing before the power of the adept. The power of a king is just nothing before the power of an adept. So therefore, he decided to receive the technique of meditation from Vasishtha, the sage, and get into meditation, penance. He did not go back to the kingdom. He told his soldiers that he is not returning to the kingdom until he gains enough powers. Until he gains enough powers. And he also instructed the ministers who were with him to coronate his son as the king and take care of the kingdom while he continues to meditate. Thus this king Kaushika, he went on meditating. And he stopped eating. He was living on waters and fallen leaves. And for a very, very long time he was only engaged in meditation day and night. Then slowly from within there were revelations and greater revelations and further revelations. And then one day when he opened his eyes and looked at a tree, the power of his sight burnt the tree. The power of his sight burnt the tree. Then he thought that the meditation has given him enough powers. So he went on further meditating and gained many powers. After gaining many powers, he came back to the sage Vasishtha and said, now I have enough powers to win over you. Then Vasishtha said, you have not gained as much power to win over me. He meditated further. Then he meditated further and went on meditating, and he even touched in him the solar flame energies. He came back to the sage and said, now I think I can have a one-to-one fight with you. The sage smiled and said, not yet. You may try, but you cannot win. And the sage again suggested you meditate. That's the only way. So he meditated further. He realized in him the cosmic energies. After having gained cosmic energies, he came back and said, now I think it's over. I don't need to meditate any further. I can fight with you. So he started the fight and he could not win over the sage Vasishtha. Then again, Kaushika inquired from Vasishtha, how is it that neither planetary nor solar nor cosmic will wins over you? What is your secret? He said. Vasishtha said, the secret is meditation. Meditate again. Meditate again. He meditated and he touched the brim of the Brahman, meaning he was about to be absorbed into a state of non-existence. At that point he realized that his very instinct to win over the other is the hindrance for him to win over the other. Because the other has no such instinct to win. In Vasishtha, there is no instinct to win. It is an instinct to be. It is just beingness. Beingness versus doing, that's the difference. That's the difference. So he realized that to win over Vasishtha is not only futile, but also childish. Childish because there is nothing in him to fight back when you fight. Therefore, he cannot be won. He cannot be won. And he also realized the glimpses of Brahman. He came back to Vasishtha and said, I now know that it is childish to think of winning over you. So I stopped doing this. But in the meanwhile, I gained very deep taste for meditation and I continue to meditate until I find a great solution for the human beings. For the first time, the cause is shifted from being personal to be impersonal and for the welfare of the humanity at large. In that effort of meditation which went on for a long time, the light of the world, whom we call the world mother, or Gayatri, it revealed its eightfold secrets. The mother nature expresses in eightfolds, she being the ninth one, the absolute God being the 10th one, the root nature being the ninth one. There are eight folds of nature as will, love and activity, and then the five elements. He knew all the secrets of the mother nature when his intention was to benefit the humanity at large. Therefore, the key relating to the eightfold nature, which would reveal the ninth one, came to him as a mantra by way of a sound. That is what we today chant as the mantra, Om Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyaha Yonaha Prachodayat. This mantra came from him. And he gave this mantra to all those who are willing to live a life of purity. On one side, man has to try to be physically, emotionally and mentally pure. It's an attempt. An attempt to be mentally pure, emotionally pure, physically pure. If you have that willingness to purify yourself, you are eligible to enter this, to utter this mantra. This is how he gave this mantra, and then he was acclaimed by the whole universe. With all cosmic, solar, planetary intelligences, they acclaimed him as a great sage. Then Kaushika, it is they who gave him the title of Vishwamitra. You are the friend of the universe because you gave the key to light. So therefore, he was given this title, friend of the universe. When all of them acclaimed, Kaushika was not so very happy. He said, if Vasishtha says that I am equal to him, I feel satisfied. See how there was one thing that was bugging in his mind all the time. There is one man whom he could never win over with all his powers. Now the celestials also praise him, but still in his mind it remained. If Vasishtha says that I am as much as him, only then I feel satisfied. Otherwise I will continue my penance. So further penance by this sage would mean destruction to the universe, because the fire of the penance was so high The intelligences went to the Devas, went to Vasishtha and said, please declare that Vishwamitra is as much as you, and he is your colleague, something like that. Then Vasishtha smiled. In spite of all the knowledge he gained, he still remains a kid, because he lives in comparison, and he wants that I acknowledge him as a colleague, as an equal. But being benevolent, Vasishtha appears before Vishwamitra and pats him on his shoulder and says, I am extremely pleased with your effort, and I am extremely pleased for what you have done to humanity. By that single act of you are benefiting the humanity, you are as great as I am, if not more, he said. Then he was satisfied, and he continues to be one of the greatest seers on the planet, benefiting those who believe in self-effort. Now you should understand why Saint Germain prefers to work more in the West than in the East. Self-effort, self-will, more than waiting for the grace, waiting for something to happen. Why should we wait for something to happen? Let us make it to happen. That's how the self-will works. If you go to United States, every kid says, to our surprise, I'll make things happen. That's the conviction. To some extent it is true, though not completely. So therefore, this self-will aspect is in the lineage of Kaushika. Please remember, this background is very important if I am to narrate this story related to Saint Germain. So time passed by, and the Kaushika dynasty continued to be, and they turned out to be more and more Brahminical than rulers, because of this man who associated himself with light and the teachings of cosmogenesis, anthropogenesis and all that. He turned out to be more a priestly class than a ruling class. So later the generations were all engaged in study of wisdom. So when it came to the end of Dwapara Yuga, there was a man in that lineage. There are so many, but one man. Not all in a dynasty shine. He was named by his parents again as Kaushika. He was named by his parents again as Kaushika. That is the first recognition that we make in the East relating to the master Count Saint Germain, Kaushika. He belongs to the lineage of Vishwamitra. And he, even at that time, was carrying an eagle-like nose. An eagle-like nose, Men with a hump over here, and then turning, making a very sharp nose, turning a bit inward. It is called an eagle-like nose. Such men are, if they are not evolved, they are the most stubborn people. Stubborn. Stubborn? Whatever they think that is the thing, nothing else. Nothing can change them. That's the stubbornness which is indicated by the shape of the nose. There is a science called Samudrika, that is by the frame a seer can see what are the energies that the person carries with him. The shape of the forehead, the shape of the eyebrows, the glitter in the eyes, the size of the eyes, the shape of the nose, the shape of the mouth, and the order of the teeth in the mouth, and the throat, the shape of all this from head to foot. Everything can give a message about the energies of other person. This is called Samudrika Shastra. Means the forms of various limbs in the body, their arrangement give enough message relating to the quality of the person. So this Kaushika, who happened to be born during the pagan of Dwapara Yuga, that's the time where Krishna was available and the physical. This boy was born, and he was born with this eagle nose. When he was born with eagle nose, the parents thought, we have a child of strong will. I think he must have been born with a purpose. So they let him do what came to him. They let him to do what came to him because they did not want to guide him. On the contrary, whatever came to him, and when he asked the parents, I wish to do this way, the parents said yes. As he grew into 12 years of age, he decided to dedicate his life to know the science of magic. That was his decision. To get to institutions of magic and then master the science of magic. For that he decided in his 12th year. Normally in all stories of evolved persons, when they are about to become initiates, certain years are of very great importance. And one such is 12th year or 18th year or 21st year, 24th year, 27th year, 35th year, and so on. So he said, I wish to go to the north of India, join the institutions of magic which are secret, and then thereafter pursue my life in terms of the science of magic. The parents agreed. So he went from central India to Nepal. Nepal and Tibet were known to be, during those times, great centers of magic, while Nilgiris are the birthplace of all magic, the Blue Mountains. So he went to north of India, and once he made a decision, he has completely shaved his head. It is also a kind of consecration. Just like people grow barbs. This growing barbs is symbolic of a consecration for accomplishment of an act. They do not cut their hair until whatever they have consecrated to is accomplished. That's how we see many seers, many scientists growing hair and growing barb until the job is done. It's a consecration. The other way of consecration is totally remove the hair. The other extreme. One is you don't cut the hair. Not cutting hair is a popular tradition among the people who set themselves upon a noble task. Totally removing the hair of the head, like Master C.V. is another type. This is what is called to be a mundaka. To be a mundaka. We have an Upanishad called Mundaka Upanishad. which I described to you in St. Mary's in December 1997. Some of you all those who attended to that seminar are still in the group now. Though the subject may not have been retained, this mundaka is an aspect of total shaving of the head for a purpose. He remained that until he becomes a master of wisdom, he continues to be totally shaved, tonsured head. A tonsured head. Therefore, his name has been transformed from being Kaushika to be Munda Kaushika. Munda Kaushika. Having tonsured his head, he went to Nepal in search of his teacher, who would teach him the magical science, the science of magic. Where there is will, there is the way. His will was so burning that to find a teacher for magic, to learn magic, and he ultimately found a very ferocious teacher. Very ferocious teacher. And to his utter surprise, he also belongs to the lineage of Kaushika. His name is Chanda Kaushika. Chanda Kaushika. For your information, in the book Music of the Soul, you find these two characters. In the book Music of the Soul, you find Chanda Kaushika, you also find Munda Kaushika. Chanda Kaushika is the teacher, Munda Kaushika is the disciple. Of course, only a mention is made by Master K. He did not. In the context of the scheme of Music of the Soul, there was no need to elaborate about these two characters at that time. So Kaushika, the master to be, has taken to discipleship under Chanda Kaushika, who was a master of all magic. Chanda Kaushika, the teacher, has put Munda Kaushika, the student, to very austere practices to gain first physical control on the body. Control of the physical body is the first step for magic. That's where Hatha Yoga is to be practiced. Hatha Yoga is a means by which you gain complete control over every limb of your body. It would bend as you would like it. Just like any soft rubber material, it can be bent in any way, very malleable, very soft. Your bones are also as soft as your muscles. Then only the energies of magic can work through. So he was put to first Hatha Yoga. The student, Munda Kaushika, very quickly accomplished the physical. Control over the physical. Then came the control over the mind. Control over the mind also, Chanda Kaushika prescribed many practices by which are relatable to the 5 past regulations relating to niyama. Yama, niyama. To keep the mind pure in relation to objectivity, to keep the mind pure in relation to subjectivity, which is called Suchi and Saucha. When you have Suchi and Saucha, meaning outer purity, when you relate to objectivity with the purity, it is Suchi. When you relate to the subjectivity with purity, it is Saucha. Suchi, Saucha. These are the two first regulations of Niyama. Then you have a disposition of pleasantness in you. A pleasant disposition happens in you. Without a pleasant disposition, no occult science can ever be learnt. That is what is given in yoga as santosha. Suchi, Saucha, Santosha, which is translated into English as a smile, a smiling face. It is normally a smiling face. Only such a disposition enables dwelling deep into the sciences of life. So this the student practiced very fast because he is born with such a strong will, he could very quickly accomplish it. So then the master introduced to him, with that power of mind, to relate to various roots and herbs as were available in Himalayas. To relate, to eat every herb and get the science relating to it. To eat every root and get the science relating to it. The herbal knowledge, the knowledge relating to roots, and he could master all those techniques by which transcendence can be done with the help of roots and herbs. Even today in Himalayas, most people adopt to these roots and herbs to experience the transcendence, which is not a wholesome yoga or a holistic yoga. But these are helpful when you know, so that you can help people who are in distress. It's a magical treatment through a herb, through a root, and to transform the moods of the persons. They are very helpful. So he went through that. Thereafter, the master gave him the sounds, the keys relating to the sounds, which is called mantra yoga. Mantra. The earlier one is called Mulika yoga, working with herbs and roots, stones, water, working with all these to see their healing abilities and their transforming abilities, so that you can appropriately utilize them in magic. That is called Mulika yoga. Then came mantra yoga, meaning working with the sound. Thereafter the master taught him tantra yoga, meaning applying the symbols, applying the sound upon specific symbols like the spheres, the pyramids, the circles, the triangles, the squares, the rectangles, the verticals, the horizontals, and then the five-pointed stars and the double triangles, all kinds of geometrical formations, related sounds, colors and numbers were given to him by the master. Thereafter the master said, "You are now in full knowledge of the science of magic, insofar as you use this magic for the welfare of the beings, eventually you would be transformed into an adept. If you use all this knowledge only for the welfare of the others, not for personal purposes, not to harm others. If you do that, you would be as much a yogi as I am, as much an adept as I am." He said this to the student and asked him to, he set him free to work it out in the life and ensure that he becomes an adept in due course of time. That's how the Munda Kaushika gained the knowledge and started working with it for the welfare of the society. But touch wood, he was more with the science than with himself. He is with the science. He is not yet a self-realized person. He did not realize the truth of that I am. He realized the knowledge, but has not realized the truth of that I am. That exists as I am. That exists as all this. There is nothing but that. The one existence and its many manifestations is not yet realized, though he had the knowledge of magic. Therefore, when one is with magic and some does some magic, one cannot believe that he is a self-realized man. For a self-realized person, the magical knowledge reveals itself. But when magic as a science is learned, but the very master key of self-realization is not there, it can lead you sometimes into personality, in making personality understanding, there can be some error in judgment. The power generally blinds you. If someone is powerful, one gets blinded with his own power. More power, more one gets that kind of a blindness. That's why there is a saying that power blinds and absolute power blinds absolutely. Absolute power blinds absolutely. That is what happened to great beings who later turned out to be different. Latest example is Hitler. He was very powerful, very magnetic, very electrical. But then at a point of time it turned different. It can happen to any person who works with the occult sciences, unless concurrently he also works for self-realization. That's why in the East, self-realization should be primary, gaining the occult sciences is secondary. It is said like that in the wisdom schools. Emphasis is not on occult sciences, but on self-realization. A self-realized person, to him all occult sciences cooperate according to the time and need. He need not make such an effort to learn every occult science. So Munda Kaushika was in complete knowledge of magic, but since he is still in personality, there is the vulnerability in matters of judgment of what is welfare, what is not welfare. Having come to know his knowledge, one king from Mathura, by name Kamsa, he engaged him as his teacher. See, engaging teachers is already a mistake. That means you are, instead of following a teacher, you have appointed a teacher for you. Meaning what? The teacher has to be subservient to your purposes. That's why a master of wisdom never stays employed. And he recommends to most of his students not to be employees, but to be self-employed. You be employed by yourself. You be engaged by yourself. Do not be subservient to others' interests. in which case your wisdom can be exploited by the others. So therefore, a king in Mathura, meaning the central India, he came to know the abilities of Munda Kaushika. He engaged him as his teacher. The teacher told the king he would be helping him only to help the kingdom. I would help you so that you are able to set law and order in the kingdom. But the king had different plans. The king is the maternal uncle of Krishna, Lord Krishna. Kamsa, the maternal uncle who wanted to annihilate Krishna even while he was a child. That was the king who engaged Munda Kaushika. That means this Munda Kaushika is already of the age of 30-35 years, while Krishna was born as a child. That's the time period I am mentioning. The story of Krishna is about 5,000 years ago. It is 5,000 years before now. The story of Krishna happened, and at that time, Chanda Kaushika was already a master, Munda Kaushika was a master of magical knowledge. So that's where first time in Puranas he is noticed. He gave much knowledge to the king, and he was training the king. He told the king that if you are to learn this science of magic, you should abstain from woman. You should only live a very chaste life and a regulated sex life only with your lady. And during practices, you should even abstain from sex. But you are allowed to live with your lady. And you shall not take any alcoholic drink. You shall not take any alcoholic drink. And you shall not eat anything that is relating to animal. No animal food, no wine, no adultery. This is what he gave as regulation to the king and started helping him to know the knowledge. With the help of the teacher, the king gained knowledge, but half the way, he, on account of his habits, he went into drinking. He became alcoholic. Then the teacher left him. This is an aspect related to the life of one of the incarnations of Saint Germain. That his first student was a disappointment to him. And this king used all those powers against the child Krishna. But Krishna could put it off because he was a master magician. That's a different story. So the first student, normally it is so. A good surgeon, in his very first surgery fails like that. Unless one kills a man, he is not a surgeon. This is how the saying goes about the surgeons, So to prevent him killing anyone, surgery is normally done on dead bodies. So therefore, like that, the first students, for everyone, the first student, it is a problem, including Jesus. His first student has been Peter, who denied him for 3 times. So therefore, anyway, that's a side issue. He thereafter left the king and said, "You have failed in the 3 commandments that I have given you. and you have failed. Therefore, I have no obligation to teach you. And he left. He left and he went back again to Nepal to stay in peace and to do his meditations for self-realization. Then came another aspect relating to his life, which led to his third initiation. During the lifetime of Krishna, Saint Germain received his third initiation. During the lifetime of Krishna, Master Jwalpur received his third initiation. So we narrate that story in the afternoon and continue thereafter. Thank you.